Now, when Elder Neuenswander came and looked at the program, one of the suggestions that he had was to increase the amount. We only had one Relief Society and one Elders Quorum at that time, basically. And he asked us to consider increasing the amount of Elders Quorums and Relief Societies. And so we pretty much standardized 2 Elders Quorums and 3 Relief Societies. Could you give us a feel for what that has accomplished, what that suggestion has meant to us?
I was in an Elders Quorum meeting when we sustained 2 new Elders Quorum presidents in our ward. And as I was looking out at the group, I counted there were 7 former Elders Quorum presidents seated in the quorum. So we had, out of the 60 people there, we had 9 who were current or past Elders Quorum presidents. And if you allow for counselors, I'm sure you would triple that number. So half of the people there had been in a presidency, because we'd had the 2 quorums and we changed the presidency every semester.
Right.
And those people do home teaching. If you've been an Elders Quorum president, you know what it's like when you don't have home teaching done, and consequently they do a good job. And that leadership evolves. Some of the very best ideas that have actually been incorporated statewide have come through these presidencies. We have a Relief Society presidency who came up with the concept of having the members of the visiting teachers pray for the sisters that they visit by name. And simply by doing that, they began to have phenomenal results and to have an increased spirit and unity within that Relief Society. And that carried forward over 2 full years. That was perpetuated from presidency to presidency, and eventually it's a concept that spread largely throughout the state. And it just came out of one Relief Society presidency.
Okay, any comments on that, President Edwards, in regards to the amount of Relief Societies and Elders Quorums?
Well, a major contribution of the smaller quorums and Relief Societies is just a better management span of control. You know, an Elders Quorum president may have 14 home teaching companionships, and you divide that between his counselors, leaving him free to do specific ministering. So each of the counselors has 7 home teaching pairs to be concerned with. Well, you can keep track of 7. But if each of them had 14, if there was only one quorum, that's what it would have been. And that's an interesting thing that we've carried over with the Relief Societies that ought to be mentioned. And that's that we have organized the Relief Societies to some extent like the priesthood, and have helped the sisters understand that the most important thing they have to do is minister to the sisters that are in the ward. And so the counselors are the ones that are responsible for visiting teaching. There's no one between the visiting teacher and the presidency. And that has the presidency a lot more aware of what's going on among the sisters, and is able to be a lot more useful and to invite people into a much more spiritual environment than they would have been otherwise if the presidency was only worrying about enrichment meetings and education, for instance.
Now, Brother Wolfley, yes.
There's another aspect to this that I'd like to bring up, and that is, as a young single adult stake, one of our responsibilities is to teach and train these young people to be leaders. And one of the beauties of having 2 Elders Quorum and 3 Relief Societies is that we have 5 presidents at any one given time who's having that experience. And we can train and teach a larger group to be leaders than we could in the previous way that we did it. And as a result, we are teaching and training leaders and sending them out into the world. In our stake, we have over 40 countries represented, and those young people are getting outstanding leadership training that they're going to be able to take back into their countries and their wards and stakes, wherever they may be, and to be able to be productive members of the church right out the chute.